It's all dead. Oh, except for this feed, which is now live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Alien Earth, episode 5, post-show breakdown, I suppose, here at the Everything is Mid with our guest, Magic Phil. See? There it is. There it is. And we are only, I don't know, like 28 hours late.
You know
to
what?
The party?
I think we're right on time. We're fashionably late.
I think you're right. We are in the zone, my friend. We are right where we need to be. So that's good news.
Neither one of us. We didn't watch this yesterday when we just watched the episode, correct?
That yes, we had a full 24 hours of time that we could, and if you were like me, perhaps you waited until the last minute, which is what I did.
I did. In fact, it just ended moments ago. It seems with again spoilers right off the bat. Spoilers. Yes, anybody that might be watching this who hasn't seen the episode. They have been playing an interesting collection of eclectic rock music from what I assume is the creator's personal collection and his own personal taste. We got, I believe it was Cherub Rock by Smashing Pumpkins as the end credits song this evening. Did you make it to the end credits, Brian?
I did make it to the end credits.
Oh, okay.
It was a riveting tale this evening. I had to see it all the way to the end.
Well, as far as keeping one's attention going, this one was pretty strong in that regard. I mean, right off the bat, I'll say it had plenty of build in it as far as what's going to happen next. But it's that's easy to do when you're just remaking Alien.
Yeah. I mean, it was a Cliff Notes version, and then they had all of their stuff. That I mean,
although this is a longer episode. Was this episode over an hour? I mean, I don't mean a television hour. I mean, like it's actual running time. It seemed like it was.
Yeah, it was like I don't know, like it was like an hour and 10 minutes, I think.
Okay, now normally because I'm watching these on cheap Hulu with commercials, so I'm getting commercial breaks. I assume that they're probably a television hour, which is give or take 45 minutes.
Oh no, it's longer than that.
This one was longer, but I don't know that have they all been longer?
I think they're all so far. They've all been about at least an hour, and then sometimes they bleed over by 5 or 10 minutes.
Well, this one felt like it was like well past the halfway point for a feature film of Aliens style, but that could just be for any number of reasons. It just felt like it was a longer than the previous episodes, but that's not my complaint. If I'm going to have any complaints, the length of the episode is not going to be one of them.
Well, the one thing we can say about tonight's episode is
yes,
is it's a mystery.
Now, yes. Did you? Should we just go with these point by point?
These are sort of. Let's we can. I tried to keep them general, but to at least let our viewers have sort of a general idea of what the conversation is. So, like, if you don't want to hear about how this episode, the story was structured as a mystery, and how they did that, and how they succeeded or failed, maybe you just want to talk about how all the aliens get out, and so you'll just sort of move ahead.
You can
maybe I see you've got an alien out there.
My personal Jonesy is going to make an appearance every now and again.
He's living in his own private Idaho with his own personal Jonesy.
The mystery part. Now, some would say that every story is a mystery to some degree, but I don't know if I completely buy that. But I think I understand what they mean when they say that.
Sure.
Which is there's intrigue and there's a curiosity about what's going to happen next in most storytelling. Not necessarily that every story is a whodunit style mystery. But in this case, it is more of a whodunit style mystery.
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to just get right into complaints. I do want to say positive things. I was curious once they set up what has happened and what is going, and that there's things going on, and there's somebody possibly behind it. That I'm curious who that somebody is. Where I bump against things is that I don't even know who all the cast members are to wonder about. I feel like usually when you have a whodunit, you introduce them right off the bat. Like, here's your cast of possible suspects, and here's our detective who's going to suss it out. In this case, it's not Yaphet Kotto, who is searching for the
Right.
culprit, who is
Who's our man Morrow.
Yes. But what also happened was that I didn't know who all. I still don't know how many people are on this ship. It's like some of them are in cryo and some aren't, but we don't know who a lot of them are or why.
Yeah.
We may never, and it looks like we may never know.
So just a quick refresher for. I mean, look. This is what I'm assuming. If you're watching this, first of all, thank you for joining us. I'm assuming that you've either seen the episode and you just want to hang out with people who've seen it, and get the download, or
Awesome
two,
people.
you haven't seen the episode, but you don't really care about watching it, and you just want to hang out with people and get the download on what it was about. So, just to quickly, in this episode, it is now a flashback. We return to the
Nostromo.
Yes,
I'm never going to remember the name of it.
It's the Nostromo.
The Nostromo.
Nostromo
with not Yaphet Kotto.
Right. And we're now getting the story of what happened on that ship that made it crash into Earth. My first feeling, which I'm the sense I'm getting from you is the same, is as soon as they went to that flashback, my thought, no, I've already seen this movie. I don't want to sit here and watch this movie again in a cheaper, version.
We a truncated Cliff Notes with far more characters, but a lot less compelling, and a lot less.
Yes, and it turns out that there is sabotage on the ship.
You say
that is why
sabotage. I say sabotage.
No.
Did you ever hear that old William Shatner clip?
No, but I remember Bugs Bunny pronouncing it sabotage-y or something like that.
Diabolical sabotage. I quickly digress, but it is in the world of science fiction. Star Trek had an animated version after the series ended. They had scripts.
A lot of the same writers too.
Yes, they wrote, and I'm probably really good, although it's done on the cheap. But they were doing. They got the whole cast to do the voices, including Shatner. And I guess he had an interesting way of saying sabotage, which, sabotage the systems, Mr. Spock. Sabotage the systems, and you'd hear a director saying, could we get another reading on that? I think it's pronounced sabotage. And you say sabotage, I say sabotage. Don't try to direct me; it sickens me.
Oh, is that where it sickens me comes from?
That's where it comes from.
Oh, the old Shatner.
Don't try and direct me; it sickens me. So that's and I think they did it every now and again in something like Family Guy or whatnot. You'll hear some reference to something along those lines, with Shatner either saying sabotage funny or telling people that directing him sickens him.
Sickens him. Yeah. I've heard the references, and now I, like our two viewers.
Are those two viewers? Are those two viewers us?
Those two viewers are us, and now we both know.
I'm glad that we're on the same page.
So it was a sabotage of the ship.
Yes,
and so our man Morrow is taken out of cryo because he is the security officer on the ship. Previously, we've been referring to him as the pilot because he was, the last man standing. We didn't really know what was going on, but he is the security officer, and he is on the case now. They've had some aliens out, and they've got a couple of face huggers going. One of them was destroyed and is eventually jettisoned out with the captain. Somebody else has issues. More aliens get out. The little ticks get out. The eyeball gets out. And so as Morrow's trying to figure out who sabotaged the ship. But the ship has been sabotaged in a way that it's going to crash into Earth. And we find out that it's one of the crew members. And they did not. Oh, we've lost Phil, but that's okay. I think I think, like you, he gets bored when I do the recaps, and so he's just out. I'll make sure he's got a link, and then we can keep going here. So yeah, the aliens get out, and Morrow's trying to figure out what's going on, and they do. Along the way, the xenomorph does get big and kill people. And ladies and gentlemen, it's the return of Magic Phil, supposedly. Oh, there he is. Yay.
I don't know what's going on. I thought I had Ethernet hooked up, and that should be making this a lot smoother, but I don't know if that is exactly what's happening.
Well, while I'm doing my recap, which I just assumed you were bored and left because of that. While I'm doing that, maybe just check your settings and turn off your Wi-Fi, and so just in case it's choosing to default to the Wi-Fi instead of the Ethernet, would be my suggestion. But who knows? So they have the aliens get out. Morrow's trying to track down who the person is that's responsible, and people die, and we then wrap this up where the first episode started. Although we get a nice little button scene with Morrow and Yutani of the Wayland Yutani.
Yeah, where do you? And that, I assume that puts us back at. It's possibly still a flashback. I don't know where that happens. That final scene happens in chronology to the.
I wasn't sure. It was either this is him reporting to her now that he's back on the planet, or was this
later
at the beginning of his trip? I mean, he says he's going to get the aliens back. I think he's saying he's going to get the aliens back. So maybe it is current.
Current, but is it current before he's like in the last episode 3? I think we see him kind of all threatening like that guy's family and that kind of thing. I don't know where that.
Where it fits in with that. Was it after all of that? Then he went to her and said, "Eh," because the last time we saw him, he was talking to her on the phone, saying, "Don't worry, I'm going to figure this out."
Right.
And in this case, she's saying, "Oh, give him all the resources he needs," and he's acting like, "No, this is, she's thinking the lawyers might be able to sort it out, and he's just saying, "No, this is going to be a bigger issue." The mystery, I did think was, this was probably the most engaging episode for me. I think because it was delivering on what you would want to see in an alien show or movie.
Yes.
For the better and for the worse. The double-edged sword on that is, yes, we've seen all this stuff, but I will say it really did all take a back seat to the mystery of finding out, the fact that there was the sabotage, and the two other alien critters, the ticks and the eyeball, being in play. So the alien was really an afterthought and sort of built to its final arrival and killing spree.
Yes, and I had mixed feelings once we finally do see our alien in full strength form. I had mixed thoughts about it. Like it's never. God, I'm old and I like the first movie so much, and so anything that's kind of leaning in that direction is just going to get an unfair comparison to my thoughts of the original film.
Well, I don't know, how unfair is it?
The xenomorph, I don't like that it's so fast in a way, because I always felt like the original Alien wasn't necessarily fast. It was kind of creepy in the way that it moved, and it moved in a way that was alien to the way that we move. And now it just seems like it's a guy who's just running down. Alien 3, a lot of people don't like to talk about it.
Oh, I like to talk about it, but I don't like to say anything nice.
There's a reason why the Alien in Alien 3 was fast, and that's because it came out of a dog. It had dog attributes. It ran on all fours, so there was a reason why it could run quicker than. So when this alien does what Alien 3 did, they're either trying to make that connection to another part of the franchise, okay, maybe, or they maybe we're not aware that, and maybe I'm not aware. Maybe the alien is that fast. We just never saw it moving quite like that. In that point of view, running down the halls, going around the ceilings. Oh gosh, he's so frightening.
It is creepy.
Now it's an effective look. I think that it might actually be a costume at certain times, and it might be a costume that's enhanced with CGI or
not a
whatnot.
costume at times like this.
Yeah,
there are times when you're watching, like going, ugh. And when it crawls on the ceiling, and probably every time it's running, because it does run on all fours, which I think is an effective look for it. I mean, as far as it moving, but man, alive! One of the things I can't stand, and they really just leaned into it, is the chase where the creature would totally have already caught up to the person it's trying to kill.
Like every time it turns a corner, the person's a lot further ahead.
Is a lot further away, and it's just like, this is not, they're trying to play off of that momentum where you're in the moment and you're just feeling the tension. But I'm not. I'm just sitting there going, like, how the hell did she get that far away? The thing moved so fast. It was right next to her, and then we cut to another shot, and she's halfway down the hall. I mean, it's just it's infuriating. You could stage it in a way where you don't have that problem.
Yes,
they didn't.
No, they didn't. They just did the old trope. It's the equivalent to the bomb that's ticking away, but somehow takes about 45 minutes when it should be taking 10 seconds. And
you see a minute's worth of action, and you cut back, and there's only 5 seconds have gone by.
Exactly. No, that's such a trope that they've actually done sketch comedy that played off that being silly. And I think one could do sketch comedy where the thing that's after you, that's so fast and is faster than you are, somehow every time you get around a corner, you somehow, like a video game, you get a little boost, and so you're further down the hall.
Well, it reminds me of Monty Python and the Holy Grail, when the
Now that they always milk that about 3 times longer than I thought they did. Every time I see that movie, I think they do it like twice or something, and then all of a sudden he's up at the guy. No, I think they do it like 6 times or something. Talk about a economical way to get both a joke and reuse of the same film footage that you didn't have to shoot.
But maybe that's one of those gags that comes out of, like, oh yeah, the footage of him running over the hill got ruined. They're like, well, we'll just run the footage of him on the horizon 12 times, and then
you hope it was an accident, because anything less is like, how do you plan for that until you've got it in the editing bay, and you're like, that's a funny little run he's doing there. Let's do it again and again.
Just do it again. Yeah, it's hilarious. So let's just do it again.
The alien in this is once again not particularly scary, because we've seen it before. We've seen all of this stuff before. We've seen this episode before in the form of a feature film in 1979 called Alien. But it somehow managed to do the same thing again, but somewhat less effectively. But some of it's not its own fault. When Alien was new, it was new. All right, you didn't have much to compare it to that was anything on that level. Now that we've seen several Alien films, and now half of a series, we've been down the road so many times. How does one? Now, I think what I'm getting from you is having a mystery attached to it does make it more intriguing, so that we're not merely doing the 10 Little Indians thing where we pick them off one by one, which we have definitely seen over and over again. So, but the problem with the mystery is when we finally find out, again, spoilers, we finally find out who it is. I didn't think, did we even know that guy before 2 minutes before that?
Oh, probably. I don't know.
I don't remember. He looks like a guy that if they could have gotten who's that guy, Pedro Pascal. they wanted to get Pedro Pascal, but they couldn't, so they got this guy. Along with not Yaphet Kotto, and
well, it's pretty shocking that there's a project that can't get Pedro Pascal
these days. I mean, I put an ad for a babysitter, and he actually answered it.
Was he one of your options there?
He was. I thought it was a little more trouble than it's worth, and his references were all movie people, and I don't trust movie people.
No, you shouldn't.
But oh my God, the cat's actually trying to eat the cord. Speaking of animal actors, don't work with animals or children, they say. So it turns out the engineer guy had been coerced by the prodigy Kid Cavalier.
Oh my god, boy Cavalier.
Is that any better?
Oh boy,
Kid Cavalier at least has the alliteration going for it.
yeah, and they
Peter Pan.
What I mean, I hate I hate when things are so on the nose. I mean,
Yeah.
I like when there's a little nod there and there's a little something, and you go, oh yeah, I
Sure,
picked that up.
yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But when it's just so on the nose, it
just hammering,
and
beating
they
that
did
horse
that
into
with
glue.
this.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
They had the guy Petrich is saying to boy Cavalier,
Mm-hmm.
he's like, oh, prodigy, you know, isn't that's your company? And then boy, it says, oh yeah, it means boy genius. That's me, the boy genius, or something like there's 3 levels to it. It isn't just he says prodigy and it means boy genius, and then that's me. Maybe that is the 3, but it was just like, okay, we get it. I mean, wow.
There are ways to do that. Or not at all would be my way to avoid that. But say prodigy means boy genius.
There you go. Yeah. You sell it with a gesture. It was written by a writer and not a visually minded writer who would be like, oh yeah, and we'll let the actor do something here.
Although this episode was directed by the creator, and I don't know, has he directed every episode so far?
I don't know. Maybe, probably, but this is me guessing.
Because this one, did you get the impression, the feel of
there's
this episode?
probably somebody in the chat, you know, they're probably on top of this. Hey, if anybody's got the answer to that, go ahead and jump on in. In the meantime, we'll just keep moving along here.
I'm getting a message. It's inconclusive.
Okay.
He may. I know he directed this one. He maybe did direct the others. I would say this one so far has had a different flavor than a lot of the others, partially because it's going back to a cast that we thought we'd never hear from again. And I do have to say, there's a bit of egg on my face to some degree. That one of our early complaints was the first 15 minutes of the first episode that seemed to be pointless.
Mm-hmm.
Now they did come around to giving us more of that and fleshing that out. Okay, so I will give them kudos for eventually coming around, but structurally, it came around in such an annoying way where we're 5 episodes in to a 10 episode series.
8
episodes.
So it came at the halfway mark, which I can see structurally might be, make sense.
I don't, but does it? Because these are characters we forgot about a long time ago. Maybe that was the point, that we like, oh, and just when they forgot that those other people even existed, we're going to show what happened to them and introduce more that we didn't see. Actually, I don't know. And if I go back and watch the first 15, maybe we will see more of.
I'm gonna deny egg. I'm taking egg back. I think that our complaint, specifically your complaint, Phil, I think it was valid, because you still could have not shown any of that and just had the ship crash. It could have just opened with, let's establish our characters, and then the ship crashes in the middle of establishing our characters, so we think we're telling one story, and then suddenly, bam, oh my gosh, what the heck's going on?
And when you say our characters, you mean the kids?
Yes, and whatever's going on Earth.
Yes,
I would agree. Think that we gained anything by having the teaser.
No, other than it was it gave us a couple of jump scares and a couple of things that were the most alien-like, including the set. So that maybe they felt, it sounds like it could be a studio note. Like
it's looking like everything was written and directed by Noah Hawley.
Okay.
There are other writers.
Mm-hmm.
Dan O'Bannon, he's just getting credit because it's alien stuff.
They will always get, and Ronald Shusett and Dan O'Bannon will always, they will always get credit for anything alien, just because it's based on a concept.
Okay, so this whole series, this is an auteur series. It is Noah. He is writing it and directing it.
He would
And
get all the credit and all the blame, I think, outside of any creative executives that are also have their fingers in the, of which it's hard to escape that, especially when you have a high profile property like this, a franchise, a 40-year and counting long history, that it's not, I doubt a studio like Disney / Hulu / Fox / whatever is going to let somebody just come in and do whatever they want. I mean, I'm sure this went through a lot of massaging, a lot of back and forth. However, it's still his project. I'm sure he pitched it and they went with it, and it's his baby. And this episode of any of them so far, nice. I do like the graphic.
Yeah.
The graphic looks like a 70s or 80s poster.
Yeah.
This is the most alien-like of anything probably since Alien, at least in an attempt to create something that's not only about an alien on board a ship that's wreaking havoc, but a ship that looks almost exactly like the original ship in every way, and characters that play archetypes that are similar, although a lot more of them. So I don't know how many in total. And there's some people in cryo that I don't think we ever.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's really unclear how many people are supposed to man this ship. And in this episode, there was discussion of like, oh, we should wake up the others. And it's like, well, how many others? Is that, like 500? I mean, it's a big ship. I don't.
It is. It always seems like it's way too big for whatever it's doing. The Nostromo was a tugboat pulling a mining.
So that's
refinery.
What that giant like island was. That was pulling that along.
Yeah, it was a tug. I mean, that thing that separates, like the rest of it's just a big refinery. Like it's refining ore, mineral ore or iron ore or metallic ore from some other planet.
So they just drop it down on the planet's surface, get some mining done, pick it up, haul it home.
They're truck drivers in space, as they wrote. So what this Nostromo is doing, if it was just sent to pick up some specimens from somewhere, did it take 10 to 15 people and a ship that size? It seems like they could have done it in something a lot dinkier.
Here's a question that it's striking me right now. Hey, we're all here for it. Everybody, this is so exciting. Brian has an idea. Like, how did they catch the specimens? Who on the ship was catching them?
That sounds like the next series. Maybe that's season 2. Is the prequel to the flashback to the midquel to the.
I mean, I guess it's people
by the way
are in cryo, but
maybe. And boy, I bet they've got some stories to tell, except they didn't make it. It would be a prequel to the midquel. No, this is a prequel to the midquel, taking place before the flashback.
Keeping track of all that. Do you need a mind map to draw it out?
I need Doc Brown to do something on a blackboard in a scale model.
Well, if they do
Marty, check out the timeline. Here we are at Alien.
And then the Nostromo.
The Nostromo is going to crash into Earth. They're going to send kids in for some reason. You got to get back and make them not do it. Cancel the show, Marty.
Yeah, it's maybe that's what the show needs, is a little more Doc.
Back to the prequel.
Yeah, so apparently midquels are a thing. So if they went back and did a prequel to this prequel would be a midquel.
It's already a midquel if you take Alien Covenant into and.
It's true, and all that business.
Shoehorning in stories between stories is always tough because you already know what came before it, you know what comes after it. So how compelling can they be? The answer is sometimes perfectly compelling, because you don't necessarily know these might not be characters. If there's characters you already know, you know whether they survive or not, the stakes drop into the basement pretty quick.
Right.
But if it's new characters, like in this one, we don't know anything. But by the way, how do you have something? Is one of your talking points characters? Because
no, since there weren't really any in this, I figured there was no point in.
Well, as far as there's one that I find annoying as a archetype, And that's an idiot on board a spaceship that I don't know how he qualifies. I get he's in it. There he is.
Yeah. The timing was uncanny.
You were ready to go, and I appreciate that.
Doop.
The guy is played so dumb. I mean, and no, nothing against the actor. He's
Yeah.
probably great in everything else he's ever been in. I just don't like this kind of character. I don't like dumb characters that, like, how in the world? Young, sure. Naive, I can understand.
It's unskilled labor apparently, because the concepts that he doesn't understand, they're pretty basic.
Yes, it's like, you understand, like somebody trying to explain. And we've had this happen in the Alien franchise before, and a lot of movies where somebody all of a sudden is coming out of cryo, and somebody has to explain everything to them that they should have known before they signed the contract. This
Right.
guy, for a second, you almost wonder if he knows what a wrench is. Now, he was in the throes of pain at that point, but that whole scene was awkward, by the way, the one that we're currently looking at, because they kept trying to make it out like people were talking over the captain, the acting captain.
Yes.
But it was mixed in a way that almost seemed like they were whispering nothing to nobody. And she keeps having to tell him to be quiet, even though it's like, well, yeah, what is she talking about? Quiet.
And here she is. She's telling, oh yeah, these two people are dead.
People are dead, and this kid can't stop eating.
Yeah, and everyone's like quipping and blah 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 blahing, and I'm like, whoa, like really, aren't you? Why is not everybody sitting there just riveted, going, okay, what the hell? I mean, aliens got out and have killed 2 people.
Yeah, exactly. That nobody acts like anything is real, and therefore our audience isn't going to react like it's real. That's pretty basic. I mean, I'm not making any grand statement there.
Yes, so that was infuriating. I kind of like the old timer.
I do. I was going to say I like the old guy because he's believable. He's been on several of these, and okay. And again, I like to give some credit where it's due. I did like our security head of security cyborg
Morrow, our man Morrow.
I'm never going to not want to call him not Yaphet Kotto, but Morrow, it was given.
Now we're just jumping around. Sorry, people.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes,
I don't care. Go.
I like that they gave him a little more meat in this one. His flashback within this flashback was pretty compelling. That he's got a daughter back home, and it was brief, and maybe it didn't move the needle for a lot of people, but I found it to be a nice respite to his otherwise one note kind of personification.
It went towards. I thought it effectively humanized our cyborg pal.
Well, it gave him it gave us the realization that he does have the ability to experience emotion, and that he's not a robot. I mean, he is
right.
He's got cybernetic parts and whatnot, but you do see that he got emotional about the loss of his daughter, which I had to stop and reread that, because I don't. Whenever you show a piece of paper on screen, and there's the actual graphics of that paper have a few things going on, I tend to look at the wrong place first and try to figure out. And I had to stop and rewind and read the actual text of, okay, by the way, you're, am I in focus? It's probably better if I'm not, but.
Oh, okay. Well,
my God.
Oh, there you go.
Wow. Yeah. Get the gauze. Find the Vaseline for the camera. Did you ever watch
gauze, cheesecloth?
You just watch me age 10 years right before your eyes. The stuff on Earth with his daughter, and then reading that she'd passed away, and it does. I mean, it tugs at you the same way Interstellar kind of gets to you when you realize the passage of time and space versus on Earth and all that kind of stuff. And I really don't know how any of that works in this universe. I don't feel like it's ever. I guess you look like you're getting kind of happy about what I was saying there, Brian. Time and space. The Interstellar explains it almost to a fault, like well past the point where you want to hear about it again. Like, oh, you realize that every week we spend here is 7 years back on it, and then you see the realization of that as he's getting messages of his kids growing up before his eyes. Now that was pretty effective. I got fairly choked up at those kind of scenes in Interstellar.
In Interstellar.
In this one, I feel like they're doing their best to give us a taste of that. It's not going to have the same impact, but it did at least give Morrow a more dimension and whatnot. But he goes right back to being like a kind of a remorseless Terminator kind of.
Yeah, because he is on task.
Yeah, and his motivations are because he knew the grandmother. He knew Yutani's grandmother.
Oh
pretty
yeah, yeah.
well.
She like gave him a chance. Like she took him off the streets or
Took him off the
something like that.
streets. I can okay, that's fine. Took him off the streets, turned him into an asset for the company, and then
And I guess that was enough.
and
Now he's loyal for hundreds of years or whatever it takes.
I think they do. If you read those things, you read it and it says something to the effect of, "Well, here you're 9 years into your 57-year mission, and this is what's." But you'd think for a company where the leader.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we've got
of that company took him under
pause.
his wing.
Oh wait, now he's returning audio wise, but video wise, he is still on paused. This would be a great time to maybe draw a mustache on him. Oh, he already has a mustache, so it looks like somebody already got to that. Yeah, I think while Phil tries to figure out how to move again, I do think that Morrow is definitely still remained the strongest character, if only because his motivation always seems very clear. He's very intent and intense. This episode, we got additional humanization of him, seeing the flashbacks with his daughter. We get to see him on the job. And the people that he's on the jobbing with are not necessarily up to his speed. Like this guy, he's more competent, certainly than I don't know. There's the woman, can't remember what her name is, Zavari or something like that, Zavari, and she is now the captain. Now the captain's dead, and she's just not up to the task. So he ends up kind of taking over. I don't know how. I don't know. I don't know how well that she was picked for this mission in the first place. She's already having an affair with one of the other crew members, if I'm keeping my people straight. So it's kind of it's kind of a mess. And speaking of which, here comes Phil. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Magic Phil. He just did his disappearing act, and now he returned.
Well, I don't know. I'm just gonna blame Xfinity cable or whatever.
Sure.
Because I'm plugged into the Ethernet on this. I should not be having this issue.
Agreed.
It's pretty pathetic.
Although you do still have all of your video editors open on your computer.
Of course.
And
I'm playing video
streaming
games.
about 100 different streams right now.
I'm live with several, Brian. Yeah, I'll be right back. Yeah, hang on, guys. No, it's probably going to happen again, but
no, I was saying how in your absence, I tap danced as best as I could. You came back right at the right time. I was crash and burning like that ship that was the Nostromo. That is what I was doing. But yeah. I was saying that the captain dies, so Zavari, I think is her name. Mm-hmm. She ends up in charge, and she's having an affair with one of the people, and she's not supposed to be fraternizing. And she's definitely not up to the task of being the captain. And so Morrow, steps in. Unfortunately, he doesn't, his priorities are not the safety of the crew, because then, they never are with that Weyland-Yutani. What are you going to do, huh?
No.
Although that's not Weyland. Yeah, no, that's Weyland-Yutani. What are you going to do?
Weyland-Yutani. So again, we've seen that whole scenario play out.
They're just like completely unfascinating.
Yeah, they made it. They whittled it down to, like, as far as I guess the mystery has nothing to do with that. That was a big deal in the first Alien to find out that the crew's expendable.
Yeah, that was a
Big,
huge revelation.
big revelation.
It
In
never
this,
occurred to us as the audience, and certainly not to the crew.
and the fact that Morrow says that to the acting captain, rather than playing that a little closer to the chest,
Yeah.
was silly to me. Like that there was like, why would he come right out and tell the only other person who could be a threat to it's the acting captain? Like, there's clearly tension there about who's going to be in control, and he basically says, well, screw everybody on this. I'm getting these back, and rather than saying, hey, look, yeah, you're the captain, we'll do whatever, and then pulling the strings,
Yeah. Steering her.
around. We keep letting her think that everything's fine and she's in control, but instead he's just like, okay, I'm going to stir the pot here. I'm going to take over, and I'm going to, you guys can go pound dirt because you're all going to be dead anyway.
Yeah, that final betrayal at the end of this whole chapter would have
No big
hit harder
surprise.
if it had
Sure.
been a revelation to her. But
Yes.
he kind of already told her that she was expendable, and of course, you never want to believe that when people tell you. Trust me. But sometimes they mean it.
Yeah. Sometimes when HR comes knocking on your door, hey, I guess that wasn't as important as I thought.
Yeah. The crew's expendable as always. I will say that when the alien finally showed up, the full-on xenomorph, I thought it was a
Yes.
nice reveal.
Oh
Because
yeah.
it kind of came out in the foreground and then came up, and the only problem is it was like right next to her, which made me feel like and then you get the face shot. Like, I'm so sick of seeing that. I mean, you need to see it, I guess, because it can eat you that way. But
Sure.
even that, when that happened in the original Alien, that was just shocking. That it's like,
Shocking.
oh my gosh, it's got this giant mouth and its teeth and it's going to eat me. It's like, no, it's not. This little mouth's going to come out and eat you.
Surprise.
Yeah. So, and then she's got her gun so that she can zap it. But then I guess, he trips her. Although I felt like we missed the shot where we see the gun fall and land somewhere. Like, she fell
Yes.
over, and I'm like, oh, I guess she
The
doesn't.
gun
I thought,
vanished.
oh, now she'll be down and she'll shoot him, and that's going to buy her time. I kept thinking she was going to use this electric charge gun and
I
buy
wanted to see
herself
it
some
either
time.
work or not work. I mean, because it would have been interesting either way. Let's say it works, but just a little, and it gives her enough time to get away. Or she could pull the trigger and it has no effect, and she's like, "Well, I put a lot of faith in this thing that didn't do anything, and now
And then she can throw the gun at him.
and that scares him, and then she can run away."
Right. It gets lodged in his mouth, and then that little mouth's trying to push it out.
Oh yeah, gosh.
But if she could have used that could have bought her the time to create the space between her and the alien that was occurring in that chase.
Yes. Well, the original was really good at having a Sigourney Weaver type, let's say,
Mhm.
hiding behind something and not
Yeah.
and knowing that there's an alien down there, but not knowing how far away it is, and building some ratcheting the tension through a slow thing rather than a rather quick thing where it's in this our acting captain is behind something in the hall and it's coming this way, and she just sort of runs out in front of it and keeps going, keeps going. Now I assume she is thinking, well, I know it's coming down the hall, it's closing the gap, I better just run now. But I don't feel like I got that beat. Like, there's a decision making beat there that I can be like, oh, what's she going to decide to do?
Yeah.
She just, it's the
And
chase is
and
on
if
again.
her only option apparently are this just long hallways, like there's no other option in this chase. And it's
uh,
like, I guess this is just the long hallway portion of the ship.
the long hallway, I think at one point she might have changed floors. She
Oh
might have
yeah.
darted.
She climbs down a ladder, and I'm thinking they made it's just the fatal error of the creature is too fast. If you're being chased by a dog, the dog catches you because you're not faster than the dog. Let's just say leopard,
Yes.
because leopard's even faster, makes the point. Better
Or a
cheetah.
leopard
The
dog.
cheetah is chasing after you.
Hybrid cheetah leopard dog is after you.
And you can see this alien scramble through the hallways. It is clearly faster than her. So then every
Yes.
time we cut to her and she's further away, I'm like, I didn't even see the cartoon cloud behind her when she went yoink, zoom, and then zipped it further, you know?
Scrambling. Yeah, gangway.
Yeah, should do a little edit like that and add in the sound effects.
Is there a way to get a long shot of the hallway and have her running out of this door, being chased by the alien, and that door chased by him?
Full on Scooby-Doo, right? Let's just get it going.
This brings up an eternal question: fast zombies or slow zombies? Which is more threatening? Which is more compelling?
One's on you at the time. I mean, a fast one running in that direction, huh? What do I care?
What do I care? He's good. Keep going.
A fast zombie running after you, Phil.
Well, if you and I were being chased by a fast zombie, I don't have to be faster than the zombie. I just have to be faster than you, is the old adage.
Yes.
I find slow zombies to be more my speed, but again,
but then you're slow, so they would be
slow.
more your speed.
I would rather. It was more like the It Follows threat versus the 28 Days Later threat.
Well, or you could go, keeping it on franchise, Alien versus Aliens. I mean, they did have some, or Alien 3, I guess, is really more to the point because it came from the dog.
Although they were getting a little faster in Aliens, and that's okay. That was a war movie, and I think we're okay with a certain amount of change in their approach on how the aliens work. They were a hive in that one, but a single alien moving around too fast, I find it to be so quick that it's not scary anymore. Versus the slow build, the slow burn of an alien form that always moved a little weird anyway in the first film. And they even experimented. If you ever look at some of the outtakes, they experimented with the way it crawled kind of on all fours but belly up in a few scenes.
Kind of like crab walking forward, or
get a little crab walk. Now I think they made the right choice in avoiding that, because I don't think that worked as well. But there are some shots where it's just sort of in an odd position.
And they also they originally tried casting a chimpanzee in the role.
Arms sort of like.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? Was it the same chimp that played that character Daggett in Battlestar Galactica?
Okay, it might as well be. I was going to go for a reference of the Empire Strikes Back, how when they first showed the Emperor, they tried having a chimpanzee or something.
The eyes were, yes, the original. This is getting some kind of deep cuts
we're so on franchise right now. It's just,
well, we're all under the same umbrella, the Disney.
Well, the two people who are watching this are into all of this different stuff, so this is really scratching the itch, I think.
For sure. The original release of Empire Strikes Back was a composite of a woman's face. It was actually a woman playing the part. The eyes were, I think, a baboon or possibly a chimp, but it was definitely a primate set of eyes in the first our first viewing of the Emperor.
So what I wanted to, I like the idea that same chimp was also almost got the role of Alien, and he just keeps missing these big roles, these iconic roles by that much.
Well, and he was he did get
Daggett, I guess.
He landed Daggett, but unfortunately, like, he's always a bridesmaid, never a bride. He's always under he's in costume, so he never gets any face time. And when he found out that Every Which Way But Loose went with their orangutans, he was very, very miffed, because again, it's close but no cigar. And I think his final role was a test pilot for the Apollo mission, which he did not return.
I was joking about our two viewers, but then I looked up. There actually are two viewers here. So hello, welcome. It's not just you and me. Hey, viewers, go ahead and say hi in the chat if you care to, or if you don't, then don't. If you have any questions or anything you want to talk about this episode of Alien Earth, let us know.
So
I think we should talk about the aliens out.
aliens out. So we do.
Oh, there we go.
There was some actual. I had a few visceral reactions to. Yeah, although that thing is interesting. It's been so far. It's been the only thing that almost constituted a real threat to the xenomorph.
Yeah, actually it leapt at it after
Leapt at
making
it.
that dude attack it.
Yes, and I don't know if he had much of a plan, but it was being very proactive, you might say.
Yes, it was watching the scientist as she was doing her things,
Yes.
and
So,
it was very. It almost seemed like it was trying to talk to the ticks and trying to guide them. I mean, it certainly tried to help them. It distracted her so she wouldn't see the tick running out.
so there was some TikTok, is what you're saying?
Yeah, so yeah,
Um,
there's a little social media going on in
yeah,
in the lab. You may have
right.
missed that, but yeah, this little guy, he's all over it.
He can watch at least 6 TikToks at once with those eyes. The And that's in some ways, this is where it starts to feel a little more like The Thing rather than Alien.
Yeah.
Not really a complaint, except a general complaint that the xenomorph's less interesting when you start adding in these other um, alien forms. But this one's pretty effective. It seems to be the smartest of anything. Smarter, really, than probably the alien itself, because
Probably.
it does seem to have some capabilities as problem-solving capabilities, you might say.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to see him scrambling around, and he sort of shoots his legs out, and he's kind of swinging around the lab there.
Yeah, I mean, he was able to free himself, and those other bugs did too, and they dropped some of their their
Yeah, that
grody
was a
little
bonus.
spawn. Yeah, that because we're waiting, and again, it's a little bit clunky, but we're just sitting there waiting for somebody to drink that from that tumbler.
Yes, it was yet another clunky aspect of a clunky
Yeah,
scene.
there's the tumbler. Yeah, and other than temporarily choking, and again, the choking thing, like, trying to parallel again uh, with
Hurt.
John Hurt. Perfect name for that
He
role.
hurt right in the chest. That's where he
Yes, it
hurt the
did.
most.
But he starts to choke almost exactly the way that John Hurt did
Yeah,
before.
it's like okay.
Like trying to
Like
get
really?
those.
Now we're lifting the choking meme. It's like
Right.
it's like all these different elements have become memes from the other movies, and they're just being memed throughout the new stuff.
For sure, for sure. Do we know for sure if they have the little bobbing? Do we see the
Oh,
bobbing thing in this?
yeah, the water bird.
The water bird, yeah.
Yeah, I have not seen it, but I have
You
to
know
believe
it's there. It's on the set
it's got
somewhere.
it. I it might have been in one of the earlier shots in the beginning when we
Mhm.
first were at the ship, that it seems like we would have seen it on the table then or something.
So our cast. Let me think about our cast for just a second. I still don't know what the deal is with the Asian guy.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, like that. See, that's the
He's just
problem. All of these characters, they get these little bits of characterization. So you go, oh
yes,
yeah, that Asian guy, he's sort of the creepy guy, and
yeah,
he's sort of aloof. He's the aloof guy. It's
yeah.
like, okay, that's not a character.
No,
That's characterization. It's just little elements that they go, okay, he's the aloof guy. So
sprinkled
I don't
in.
really know or understand or care about him. I mean, they
No,
go, oh, the one woman, she's what's this one here? She's having the affair with, and I don't even have a slide for the guy she's having an affair with, but apparently he's from
at this
Utah.
time I lost
She's
you,
got
but I
some
don't think
Utah
it's my
dirt.
on my end. I don't think it's coming from my end.
Oh, what's going on?
Don't blame me, Brian. Oh, there you are.
Oh, okay.
That Yeah, she's having the affair, and she's thrust into this situation of being the acting captain briefly in a tense
And so
situation.
you kind of feel like you kind of know her a little bit,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
she doesn't she doesn't really have an arc. She doesn't really. I mean, I don't know what kind of an arc you can pin on the supporting characters. It would be nice if they were being used to reflect and support the themes of the main character and what they were going through. I go into
Sure.
this in great depth in my Romulus review, it turns out.
I can't wait.
I was almost done with the Romulus review. I was like going to be done that afternoon, and then I had an idea. I'm like, oh, I should write about this.
Your
And then I just
revelation.
kept
Yes.
going, and yeah, there's a lot. I think there's a lot of good stuff in there, so you should definitely check that out. But
Did you have to write a midquel prequel to your review?
there was a lot of quilling going on.
Can I just say something real quick about, and this might fall more under general discussion. Some of the issues I'm having with this episode are the same issues that I had with the first 15 minutes of the original, in that, but just in a longer form, which is we got snippets of these characters that didn't mean anything before the crash, and now we're getting longer snippets of these characters that also don't mean anything before the crash.
Yes.
Other than so part of me thinks, well, they're setting up these characters to be red herrings to some degree in this mystery. So at some point you're thinking, well, maybe it's the creepy guy who's watching one of the people. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he's doing with.
Yeah.
There's somebody's in.
Oh, I think you know, Phil.
I don't want to say it. It's a. I will say this show still could have been PG-13 if they had just toned down some very minor aspects.
Yeah.
Which makes it feel like a forced R.
Yeah, like they're going, oh, we want to make it a horror movie, so we got to have our horror elements. But they're real. Well, I was gonna say they're unnecessary for the story, but so much of this is unnecessary for whatever the story is. Which is going back to my Romulus point, is that when I was going back into it, I realized, oh wait, there's actually this other story that is like there's a certain truth that's being told in the story they're telling, and they're not actually trying to reveal this truth. But once you see it, it's hard to unsee it.
Yeah.
And then from there, I went back through the arc for the main character and sort of sketched out how they could have put emphasis on different things to actually tell a story where this truth was was relevant.
Yes.
And in doing that, all of the other characters had functions, they had roles to play off of this arc for the lead character. We don't get any of that in Romulus, and we don't get any of it here. We really don't get any of it here.
No.
I mean, Morrow's, I guess,
he's
the lead character on the ship because he's the one that lives, right? And even though he's more engaging than the other people, I'm not really getting a sense of. I mean, they humanize him more, and we get a better idea of why he's doing the stuff he's doing, I guess.
What makes him tick a little bit, yeah.
But I don't really feel like he's on a growth journey.
No,
a hero's journey of sorts.
Although one has to wonder if at some point we're getting a convergence theoretically of Texas.
Oh, sorry, man. I hold that thought. Hey, Texas Taurus, I just saw that you're in there. Nice to have you join us again.
You remind me,
maybe, or maybe I certainly felt as though once we got. Oh, hang on, hold that thought, Taurus. I kind of cut Phil off. I want him to go with his flow, and then we'll loop back over to the chat.
It does bring up something that I did consider. Again, it is a major restructure, but it does make me wonder if they should have done a little more A/B story with the Nostromo sequence with our characters on the island, so that when the ship does finally crash, we've already built up both sides of this story.
Right. We could have been cutting back and forth between developing stories on Earth and on the ship. I think that could have been good. And then
that might have had its own set of issues, though, that we would currently be complaining about in this review too.
Sure.
So it may not be a solution to anything, but it might have been at least a viable way of telling us the same story, so that perhaps the things that are happening on the ship could reinforce on some level what's happening. But at that point you'd have so many characters in play, and I think that's one of the reasons why they broke it up like this. There's a lot of characters in play.
Yeah, and I agreed. And to Taurus's point here, Texas, the old TT. Maybe, I mean, if you're gonna do all of this stuff, maybe there's something to having all of the stuff from having this episode be the first one, We think it's all about these people on the ship. We don't know who the lead character is going to be. By the end, we discover that it's Morrow. In the same way with Alien, you didn't really know that Ripley was going to be your lead character. I mean, for a long time, you're kind of thinking it's Dallas's. Well, he's the guy who's running the ship, so he'll be the hero.
Sure.
Yeah, so maybe they could have done it that way.
I mean, at that point, though, I think we're kind of polishing a turd to some degree, and that there's bigger issues that aren't going to be solved by intercutting two stories where one's not working particularly well and the other is theoretically working better, which in this case, the story of the synth hybrid, the kids in the new bodies is still our A story. And I think that's the stronger of them in any way, even though it's the less alien-like. This one's,
even though it's being absolutely mishandled in every possible way. Before I saw this episode, I for a couple of days I was thinking going in, I'm kind of done with this series. Like, I'm gonna watch it, but I've given up on. We made it halfway through. I've seen enough of it to assess. We could. I'm happy to call balls and strikes. What's good, what's working better than other thing, and try to figure out how things could get fixed. But I just feel like it's so it's a real misfire.
It's a misfire, and I would not be watching the show if we weren't having this banter about it. Obviously,
likewise.
In the future, but you never know. Here's the problem: we started this on a new show that we didn't know anything about.
That's part of the fun, but
it's part of the fun. So
hang on, Texas. I'm going to get to your comment and your other comment too. And Alexander, hey. Now we have a special guest of the show. I'm sorry, Texas. We got to jump forward here.
Texas, you're old news. So why are you okay? Is Texas? Kex, are you on your son's account watching this?
Kex, right? Kex is another friend of ours from I grew up with him, and then we're in the industry together.
And now I'll grow old with him.
Very another talented guy, director,
also from the world of animation,
artist, storyboard artist,
Emmy award winning
designer, all kinds of
art director.
Stuff.
Yes. He gave up after episode 3. I don't blame you, Kex. I think we're probably simpatico in the sense that for me there's 2 good movies, 1 masterpiece, 1 really excellent movie, and the rest is just a series of stuff that just clouds my memory of the good stuff. I just try to sweep it away. Yes, not to mention.
I understand how that goes.
Every 5 minutes there's a commercial, and it's the same commercials over and over again.
Now, Kex, who's on the Alex account, Texas does want you to know that it does get better. In some ways, this was like I was saying earlier. I thought this was a more engaging episode just because it was, there was a mystery element. You had a guy you were following that you could kind of, he kind of had some intensity about him.
And you
finally got some alien action and some interesting action with the dueling aliens and stuff.
For sure.
There's a question here I did want to get to. So the guy on the ship that crashes it, that is Morrow, and he is a cyborg. So he is
mostly human,
and he's got some machinery stuff going on.
He at least has 1 machine arm that can do anything it needs to do. But it makes you wonder when they designed that arm. I think we just
alien action. Oh yeah. Well, maybe not maybe not that kind of alien action, but although there was a little, human action going on in this one. Oh no, definitely. That's a whole other franchise.
That's a different franchise. That's more of an Area 51 style alien. But so when they're designing Morrow's synth arm, did they just go with the Swiss Army approach to what he has?
I hate that too. It's like Tony Stark nanotechnology.
What doesn't he have?
Yeah.
Now we saw his welding equipment early on in episode 1, and I guess at some point we saw a knife.
Mm-hmm.
What can't he do?
I'd rather they would, because a lot of the technology, because they're playing off of the 70s aesthetic that was created for the franchise, I would have liked something a little less, not cyborgy, nanotech. I'd like to see like the little slot opens up and then the thing comes out. I mean, even when the doctor was trying to take the ticks off of the guy's lung, it was like one of those tubes that has the metal claws that as you push it out, they go out.
And I could never get any of the stuffed animals out of that machine with that.
No, that was.
And he had the same problem, by the way.
I think that was a real oversight in the medical technology of that era.
Well,
just use a claw machine in the
to have
operating room.
The same company that built the claw machine built building like surgical medical grade equipment is just definitely.
Yeah, and that nurse, she had to keep coming in and lining up the quarters. So she keep feeding the machine so he could keep going back again every time he missed.
Oh, and then the other doctor wanted to come in and he wanted to put a quarter because he wanted to play next. And like, no, we've got this all the way through the end of the episode. Mac and Me.
I think that would have been nice if they got Mac and Me also into the fight with the eyeball guy and the xenomorph.
Plus, they could have gotten some of that sweet McDonald's franchise money, the tie-in. They could have had the world's most disgusting Happy Meal tie-in.
Oh yeah,
Tick Nuggets.
Yeah, so
chicken Tick Nuggets, Brian. Please acknowledge.
I need to find the applause sound effect. I think they've got one, so I can have that on. Either that or a sad trombone.
Well, that you're going to hear that more often from my jokes. But they did go for the gross factor in this, and they really only did maybe one other super gross thing in one of the previous episodes, possibly 3, where some half a guy's crawling across the floor, and I thought, well, that was gratuitous. And the ticks in this one weren't as bad, but there were a couple of times where I thought, well, okay, it is an alien movie. They're visceral. There's no reason they can't go there. But it never felt like it was. It just felt a little shoehorned. Like we have to throw this in here to maintain our street cred as an R-rated.
The thing with the ticks too is that we've already established their gimmick of, they bite you and they just suck all the blood out of your body and you sort of turn into a life force husk.
Yeah.
But they this thank you. I'm like, wow, that's really not going anywhere. Okay. Yes, the nano hand. That's the problem. But with the ticks, I thought they then when it squirted out the tadpoles into the water, I thought, oh, okay. But don't we already have the thing? Like, do we have to like? I don't understand what's up, because now somebody's going to drink it, and then I feel like it's just another alien face hugger putting something inside your body that kills you. Just like it's
just less interestingly.
Yeah, it's just the same,
Right.
It's not as interesting as the alien life cycle, but it's just like, okay, all right. And then what do we got? Oh, he coughs blood.
Blood, and then they managed to somehow get him up to the medical area. I thought he was dead,
and then trying to pull them off, it poofs the toxic thing, and I go, okay, so that's like the acid blood. If you try to pull something, it's
Yeah, I guess they all came from the same planet. I guess all these alien things came from the same planet, and they do a lot of the same. Now, one thing that I assume is now going to be considered canon, unless they just sweep this one out of the way. You can't freeze an alien thing. You can't put a face hugger who's on a guy into cryogenic sleep and have it just be frozen until they get him out.
Right.
I don't know if I like that. Part of me thinks that you've kind of taken one thing that could be a compelling way to get an alien from point A to point B and have it show up and thaw out and be scary again.
Yeah, now you got to worry about it hatching and doing its thing, even in cryo.
Yeah, you got it. You've taken that off the table. But I mean, that's the decision that they've made now. And it also tells me that in the original Alien, somebody suggested that they just freeze John Hurt when he's got that on him and just deal with it later. Well, I guess we now know that wouldn't have worked. So it's sort of retroactively
undoing.
Yeah. A little bit. Not that it made it not that it made a difference in that movie because they never got to that point, but we now know what would have happened had they tried. And I don't know if it was Lambert that suggested that, or Yaphet Kotto perhaps suggested that they just, why don't they just
The
freeze them?
actual Yaphet Kotto.
The for sure, the genuine article. uh, I think he had suggested it. Why don't they just freeze him? For a while there, like it made some of the characters who were more down to earth, you might say, thinking more soberly than the ones that were probably overthinking it. I always thought, yeah, well, maybe Yaphet Kotto was right. They should have just freeze
Yeah,
him.
now we found out that I'm looking at this montage here, and I'm looking at Kabuzo or whatever she is here.
The doctor.
Yeah, and just how dumb she is. I mean,
they don't do her any favor. The scripts don't do her any favors, which is unfortunate because you do want to have a lot of these shows kind of work on. It's sort of a class thing. In the original Alien had it. This one has it as well. You have a class structure within this crew. You've got the intellectuals, the captain class, the military class, sort of, you might say. It's not military, but it's, and then you've got the people who work in engineering who are always dirty. Like they're always a little bit dirtier than you'd think, people who work in space. But okay. But there's a couple of dirty guys right there next to, and they've got a doctor in between. And that was a source of tension in the original film between, let's say, Ash, the science officer, and Yaphet Kotto and Harry Dean Stanton. And that was always enjoyable because it was a smaller cast, and you got to know their. By the way, how much is a credit worth? A share, I mean, how much is a share worth?
I don't, they get into, I don't know. How does that translate into American dollars? I don't know.
And I don't know that it has to, because like, I don't know how money works in this future, but a share is obviously represents currency.
Something. I know that she's docking him 1/16 of a share. It's
but I don't. How many shares do you get for this trip? Because he acts like that didn't hurt so bad, and I'm thinking, well, 1/16 of your total pitch. If you're only making like 4 shares, then that stings.
Yeah,
especially on a 100-year flight or whatever these things are.
Yeah, all that stuff is silly to me.
It is, but I want to know how much a share is, because that's all they ever talk about is like, how many shares do I get?
I was watching a video about Jurassic Park in reference to the current movie, but then it was talking about the original movie and the original book. Yeah, and it was contrasting the book to the movie of the original Jurassic Park. But they were talking about Michael Crichton and how in all of his books he has sort of this running theme of the system being failing, because humanity can't have full understanding over what's going on. But the point I'm trying to make here is that they brought up that all of the people are always very smart, and so you have smart characters that are applying themselves towards solving a problem, and they're not being stupid about it. They just happen to be limited. They just happen to be the math they're doing, or they're given for the math they're doing. That given is incorrect. So, but they themselves aren't stupid, like our engineer guy over here, Dopey, and like our science officer, this woman Cesaro or whatever, when she's sitting around, and this is a problem with the series in general, where when you have Timothy Oliphant over there, just watching things as in the lab, that there's no real sense of procedure. At least she talks about, well, it seems like they won't eat things if they're dead. Oh, I guess they will eat dead things if they're hungry enough.
They're hungry enough, they'll eat a dead rat, but so would I.
Yeah, but it's so basic. It's just like, I don't understand what she's doing. She's just sort of sitting there looking at the things and knocking her water around on hey, this is going to be important later. Pay attention to the water. Yeah,
I'm going to have another big swig, and that would have been a good place to tie in. They could have put a logo on there. Having a Subway sandwich.
So it's really frustrating in these movies when we see people being just stupid and making
People being
dumb
stupid.
decisions, and and
Yes.
watching this stupid doctor do her stupid thing in the lab and just bang her stupid thermos around.
And then we end up wanting them to die because we get so frustrated that we're more on the alien side at that point.
Maybe that's the plan.
Maybe it is to make a sympathy for the devil kind of scenario where, well, if humanity's gonna be this dumb, then maybe it should be wiped out. Maybe that's what this auteur is ultimately saying about humanity. It's like,
maybe he is.
Time for something to come along and sweep it away. That the Wailing Yutani's right. Ash, the original robot, was right. Not Yaphet Kotto's right, and everybody else was an idiot. I have a hard time believing that even in the future, where these are kind of truck driver types, that you could have passed some kind of test to be on a ship with this kind of a big mission and still be as dumb as the apprentice engineer.
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess he's the guy who bangs the rocks, but even rock bangers, know what a hammer does.
Well, because I believe that Harry Dean Stanton and Yaphet Kotto knew what they were doing down there in the.
Very much so. And then they played stupid when it was, beneficial to them.
Sure. They and which is smart. They were smart enough to play stupid. But in this, you've got the same thing happened in the Prometheus movie, where you've got people that should have been a lot smarter, just doing dumb stuff for no good reason. Which if your Crichton thing, it's the first time hearing it, makes sense, and that Kex agrees that.
So there must be something to it.
That you want to believe that the characters are doing the best that they can and aren't just morons, but even a person who's kind of dim can still be compelling if they're making choices that make sense within the context of the story, versus just being a dumb guy who can't stop talking during a meeting with the captain about dead people on the ship. He's actually going to sit there and eat. I mean, you could have played that slightly different, still had it work. You could have played the whole scene differently and had it work to some degree.
Well, I think one thing that would have worked better for that scene is if they didn't already know that people were dying, because it was just so absurd that they behaved the way they were when their crew members were dying. And so if they just didn't know that going in, that could have been why she was getting annoyed that they kept interrupting the meeting, because she was trying to get to, and then she could finally just snap and just say they're dead, and then people like, what?
What?
Who's dead? And then she could, these people that we've never heard of and we're never going to see again, that the audience doesn't care about, they're dead.
Right.
Kex, if you want to formally jump in here, let me know and I'll shoot you a link. But if you want to just hang out on the chat, that's fine too.
Yeah.
I
haven't seen Kex in a while. Yeah. So
those things
what, and part of having this happen at this point in the series is that no matter what happens to, unless we find out something in this flashback that we didn't already know, there's no big surprise here. I thought there was a chance that we might find out that there's another crew member that survived. Or
thinking about it, all we learned in this really, we humanized Morrow, but you could have done that anyway. Like, hey, in 4 episodes, you could have figured out a way to do that before now.
For sure.
But we humanize him a little bit. We get a little bit of his backstory. Again, we could have done that earlier. All we really learn is why the ship crashed. We learned that Boy Cavalier had a guy on the inside. That could have been learned some other way.
For sure.
Whole episode is unnecessary. Actually, but that's in line with most of the episodes. So,
well, I mean, like there's something you learn in screenwriting at some point, which is if you can lift a sequence out of a script and it doesn't change anything, that sequence probably doesn't need to be in there.
Right.
If we lifted this whole episode out, the only thing we'd be missing were the points that you made, which could have been done easily, especially Morrow, since we now have plenty of time to spend with Morrow and find out a little bit about what his backstory is. And we didn't need an hour and 10 to find out all the things about these creatures that we already figured out. We know what that eye thing can do. We've already seen it do it with a cat.
Right.
We know a xenomorph got free because it's already been freed and killed, by the way, so it's not even a threat anymore. At least not that one. We knew there were eggs in the ship.
Although this time we've learned more about what the ticks can do, but who cares?
Who cares? Are we really? I mean, are all these things going to be unleashed, Cabin in the Woods style, at some point in the series?
Yeah.
And we needed to see what each, because there's other things that we still don't know what they do or what makes them threatening, and we had a whole episode to figure that out, but they declined to let us know what the big eggplant does.
Yeah. Here's the sad thing that I was thinking about watching this episode. It ends, which sad thing,
reach into the grab bag of sad and pull out
and ring out an item. It's full of tears. That's why you want to ring it out. Being a sad thing. Alien Earth. This should be a. Oh shoot! Now I forgot the word I was. But this should be huge.
Sure.
This should be an event, right?
Yes.
This should be an event. Oh my God! They're doing Alien Earth.
Yeah.
It's going to be 8 episodes of some epic alien on Earth story.
Yeah.
Like the whole culture, sci-fi culture, should be abuzz and focused, and it should be the only thing everybody's talking about. For Christ's sake, it's Alien on Earth.
Yes.
And it's just so not that at all.
No.
It's just so not. It's just a thing. It's this, God bless you, Noah. I mean, I'd love to have the opportunity you have. And I know that I've had opportunities with stories where, I could find things better. And then there's other stories where I just couldn't find them that well.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it locks in, sometimes it doesn't. This is just, you're just not there, man. You didn't find it for this one.
You know what it reminds me of? Well, the promise of the premise. All right. There's anytime you hear some people talk about the scripts and the pitch and everything, there's the promise of the premise. Alien Earth does sound like it's going to be a giant thing. It's not Alien Cincinnati or
right.
It's not even Alien, Russia or it's the whole Earth, right? That's a pretty big.
Yeah. Alien New York.
But it ends up being pretty contained. And that the rest of this is going to mostly take place probably on that island, and maybe they're going to get somewhere else, but I don't see it getting much bigger. I see it getting smaller. It reminds me of I never saw it. It
reminds me of that thing I've never seen.
But Jason Takes Manhattan. Friday the 13th part, whatever. Jason Takes Manhattan. Manhattan. That's Lower East Side, Upper East Side, Harlem, the meatpacking district, Wall Street. No, I think it's one building somewhere. Maybe not even, man. I don't think he made it out of Jersey. I don't think he made it all the way. But wherever he made it, I think it might have even been on a boat in the Hudson River. I don't know, but it certainly wasn't Manhattan. All right.
Right.
And I don't know what you do with Jason Takes Manhattan. That's almost too big too. But Alien Earth, it's big. You're offering up the whole Earth, but you're giving us mostly a pretty tiny island and a crashed ship in one building where we never really knew quite the logistics of how things were working on that crash ship.
But you know what I think, Phil?
What's that?
I think all of our questions will be answered in episode 6.
I can wait. Actually, I think I can wait about a week.
Maybe about a week. And then we'll be right back here talking about it. And I'm sure it's all going to tie together in a way that's going to blow our minds. Yeah, I'm sure it will. Noah, I want to preemptively apologize for any doubt that I've expressed in this podcast.
I will say something in favor of Noah. I don't remember his last name. I don't.
Builds a hell of an ark.
That thing was like 300 cubits. They said it couldn't be done, but we all drowned.
How many
saying
credits
it
did they
be
pay him for those cubits?
how many shares in the?
How many shares?
And would it be funny if okay, alien on the ark? Now you've got animals and humans, self-contained,
I
prehistoric.
think Noah wisely left the xenomorphs off the ark.
I don't think we wouldn't be having any of these animals today that we enjoy at the zoo had Noah brought the 2 xenomorphs on. I will say that again, I want to say something positive. I think he likes Alien. I think he likes the Alien franchise. I think he appreciates what it is. I think in this episode, he clearly likes the first movie a lot enough to try to make his own version of it as close as possible without being exactly the same.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's not a guy who came into this hating the franchise and wanting to, let's say Ryan Johnson it and
right.
say, and completely throw away everything that we thought we knew about Alien and its iterations. So if I could say a positive thing,
I'd say
I think he likes the source
thing
material
about Fede Alvarez, who did the Alien Romulus. He was clearly a fan, and you can see his love of the franchise. Same here with Noah. You can see that they do care about this stuff. And they're
having said that, sometimes that's not a great thing, though. It can backfire.
Yeah,
it can end up feeling like a fan film, which this in its own way, there are times when it feels like a really high budget fan fiction version of a story that takes place in this universe. Does that make any sense at all?
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying.
That I would like if look when let me try to form a thought here. George Lucas hired Irving Kershner to make Empire Strikes Back. Did Irving Kershner ever strike you as being a science fiction fan or even a Star Wars fan? I don't know.
Yeah.
It was such a new thing. You really almost didn't have time. Given his age and his experience, he's probably not buying Star Wars toys and putting up the poster.
Right.
He's
probably enjoyed the movie, but outside of that.
But I would, if I were a producer that was going to do something with a property, I wouldn't hire somebody who loved it too much. I think that actually can be a problem. I'd rather find somebody who can tell a compelling story and do a very serviceable take on something that isn't their own, but can understand the vision and still work within that world. And I would say that's sort of like a Lawrence Kasdan, although he's certainly not. Some of his scripts in the Star Wars universe I have not been a fan of, but he wasn't. He was coming from the Big Chill kind of stuff, where he's more interested in character work and that he's bringing to the table
something more than fandom.
Yes, exactly. And later on, that wasn't necessarily it didn't work out so much in some of the other films, but there are lots of great writers and filmmakers who can work within a genre and within a franchise that would be great for something, especially if they aren't just looking to recreate things or looking for those. Since it's a Star Wars movie, we have to have this kind of thing. Somebody's got to say, "I got a bad feeling," but all the series of there's a million things that you can do that with, and it just ends up being drivel. It just becomes It becomes a caricature.
Yeah.
So
it becomes memes.
Becomes
you're
memes.
memeing in the movie. Stop memeing. Just give me your movie. What's your tale?
For sure. And I think and that's why in this series there is a better story being told. It's the A story. I think it's that I was getting to like that one more. I would still say that episode 4 is probably the one I've liked the most so far, and that had the least amount of alien stuff I think in it. and the most amount of larger concepts at play.
I would say that if this episode had started the series, I think it might have been a better start episode. I mean, I agree with you. The real story here is with these hybrids.
Yeah.
They don't know how to tell that story. They're just fumbling around in that sandbox.
They are.
But that's where the story apparently, but it needs to parallel something that's going on with the aliens. And I just, like, if I were to approach this, I would just approach it completely differently. But I feel like if this episode had started it off, people would have been like, okay, yeah, this feels like Alien. We're in the alien universe. Alien stuff's going on. There's other alien creatures. Oh, wow, crashed. Now they're on this planet. And, you know, oh, this guy is, you know, a competitor to Weyland Yutani. I think they could have set all that stuff off and kind of launched things off with a bang. Whereas what they ended up doing with the ship and all that, and sending the kids in, and just like,
no, that was asinine. That's why
I feel like this could have been a good launching point to then go off into that other stuff.
Possibly. Although I think as soon as people would have thought it was a rug pull, much in the same way that the first 15 minutes was a bit of a rug pull. You start off with this kind of a thing with, okay, very alien-like, and then we're over to here, and the tone's very different. I find that the even though the A story has been clunky, there's more compelling questions being brought up. The only thing I can think that could have possibly, they sort of did it in Alien 4. Was that one called Resurrection? Not a great film, and boy, do I love that filmmaker when he's doing, again, other things. And now there's an example of a guy that probably wasn't an Alien fan who was brought in, and it didn't work either. So forget everything I said before. You got to find just the
right balance.
Just the right balance. That using alien DNA to create synths. I feel like if you had like a human, especially if it's a female, like this makes it more interesting too. Maybe our lead is getting a new body, but the only way to make it work, they're going to experiment. Prodigy guy is going to do a hybrid of a hybrid, and the hybrid is to bring in xenomorph biology into a new body that creates something of a maybe slightly more human than alien. So you still get a little bit of the humanity in the face and stuff, but has some of those alien-like attributes. And then you don't quite know. And they did do something like that with the Sigourney Weaver character in Alien 4, which is they were experimenting with her DNA, cloning her with some alien stuff. And then you end up having Sigourney Weaver basically being Sigourney Weaver, like in look. But she's got some more abilities, and I don't quite know what's going on with her psychologically. Maybe pushing that a little more. That would be another way for a show to go that they didn't go, or maybe aren't going, and maybe never will. But
the other thing, this whole notion of going out into deep space and getting and they cover it in dialogue here. Oh, well, companies, they want anything that can give them power. Okay. But how much do they really know about any of these critters? The whole idea is like they've gone out, this notion that the xenomorph is some sort of holy grail for Earth science. It's just like, I don't know. Is it really?
I don't know.
And of all the things, because you touch on, what they're experimenting in Alien 4 and all this other stuff with the goo and, the other movies. It's just like, is this really what is the idea? We're gonna take alien DNA and fuse it with humans to make super soldiers. I mean, is that it? I mean,
that's kind of what I could see with them. I mean, that's the most obvious thing.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but it's like, and that's just sort of a hackneyed off the shelf pitch of what you would do with it.
Yes,
I mean, you'd think of big pharma going like, no, we need the xenomorph DNA. We need the acid blood creature. It's like, well, why? How much do you even really know about the acid blood creature at this point to know that you need it that bad? I mean, at least in this one, the alien Earth, it's in there with other creatures, so maybe it gives the idea that this is when they first discovered it.
Yeah, maybe of all these things that they went and collected, they don't know which one's the one that's really the gold standard of what their future technology is, but they're going to figure out in this show that it was the xenomorph is the one to go after. That's why over the next couple hundred years of this franchise, we're going to be going after the xenomorph, because that's the one, baby. Little eyeball, multi-eyeball octopuses. Forget it. Nothing. Ticks.
Yeah.
Who cares? We don't need them.
They're going to be replicating those in the genetic meat labs to make sushi with those little arms. Right. Those are calamari. They're going to space calamari.
It turns out Weyland Yutani is just one big food production company after all. That's where they've been making all their money, is in just coming up with new
Soylent Yutani is people.
Oh boy. Talk about GMOs.
Yikes. All right, man.
Yeah, well, good talk. I'm glad we had a few people chime in. I know that at least one of them, you didn't want to say their name out loud for obvious reasons, and perhaps their commentary was a little more mature content.
And we got one more in there. Hey, person in the chat. Yeah, you have a question? You have a question or a topic or anything? This is the last chance. We can squeeze in one more thought on our way out the door, or no?
Do we?
Oh, they're gone. Okay,
they're
well,
gone.
There you go.
It was the sound of saloon doors.
Yeah. All right, man. I will catch you on the flip side.
Absolutely. Have a great one.
And to all the viewers out there, stay savvy.
Stay mid.